because I was just shutting the hell up and listening and not paying attention to what I was doing while Ben was telling us about Dark Sun. But first, coffee.
So there are a lot of interesting themes, and Wizards of the Coast has flat out said they're not pursuing Dark Sun. They're just not. Too touchy of a subject to adapt into anything.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I can see that. They did go back and forth, right?
About?
Back to Dark Sun.
Dark Sun originally was a 2nd edition setting.
And I think it got reprinted in 4th as well. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna go back.
Yeah, there was some stuff printed in 4th. There was some fan-made stuff for 3.5, and that's basically it. There's a couple comics, some stories, like books. But I used to have a comic for that's set in Dark Sun. I might still somewhere. But like most things are psionic. If you're an arcane spellcaster, basically everyone wants you dead if you're an arcane spellcaster.
Yeah.
There are actually two kinds of arcane spellcasters: defilers and then preservers. But the difference between them is just is basically a willing choice sort of thing. A defiler will cast arcane spells like normal, or normal for them at least. And a preserver will minimize the damage that their spells cast by making them less powerful. However, the common people don't really give a shit whether you're a preserver or a defiler. You cast arcane magic, it kills the world. Fuck you, you're dead. So, I mean, I understand that.
Yeah.
So most rely on psionics or druids.
And I would imagine that druids are pretty fucked up in and of themselves as well.
Druids rely a lot more on elemental casting. But, if you work for a Sorcerer King, you can be a Templar, which is just a reskinned warlock, where your patron is the Sorcerer King.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's the reason why Tyr has so many issues, even though it's now free of the Sorcerer King, because the people who actually know how to run the damn city are people who worked directly under the Sorcerer King. And so, like, yeah, you took the head of power, but the people who are running things are still running things. You haven't really changed much.
Yeah. And if you did, then you would have people who don't even know their ass from a hole in the ground.
Yeah. The two darker things that I think are why they're not going to bring up Dark Sun in 5th edition, or D&D 1, or whatever the hell they want to call their next set, is the Moles and the Halflings. The Halflings are effectively cannibals.
Okay.
They live in the only actual forest left on the planet, or the only big forest. And they're practical cannibals. They don't do it for religious purposes. They do it for hey, listen, we live in a shithole. Waste not, want not. That's good meat right there.
Yep.
Mhm. And then the Mulls are a race made specifically for Dark Sun. So the Sorcerer Kings decided that they needed servants who were better than what they had. And so using magic, they created the Mulls, who are a cross between dwarves and humans.
Okay.
They're mostly humans with more endurance. With more endurance and steadiness. They don't mind. They're physically better at dealing with bad conditions, but they're still as flexible in their jobs as a human is. However, they are all magically created. Well, they were originally magically created. A human and a dwarf cannot make a half-dwarf like that in the setting.
But the Mulls can breed true?
Yeah, the Mulls can breed with between each other. It's an interesting setting, and that got me looking at other ideas for settings like that. Which I unfortunately did not really find much. I had one in my own head about running a setting like that. That was a little bit different. Less apocalyptic, but magic is still an issue. And that idea was, what if magic wasn't good for the caster, regardless of the kind of magic you're using?
Okay, I'm tracking.
Like, my thought was, like, living humanoid beings were never meant to mess with magic of any kind. And so, when they do, it warps them physically over time. So, the oldest, strongest wizards are not really recognizable as even being humanoid anymore. And I wasn't going to limit it to just wizards. Druids, for example, would end up being like twisted nature avatars by the end of their careers.
Yeah.
And even divine magic, like magic that comes from gods, your body was never meant to handle magic, divine magic running through it. It was never meant for that. And so, like, if you're a god of, like, if you follow a god of stonework and mining, you might end up being just a pile of rocks at the end that just kept going until it fell apart. Main problem is I need to make rules for, like, twisting one's form.
Oh, that new sleeve feel. You want to play a game? Yeah,
Over Discord?
sure.
I don't have any of my decks ready right now. I'd have to dig them out. I've got 2 decks that are not buried, but those are my learn to play decks. And they very much could not compete against an actual,
No, I don't think they could.
built deck. Red Green would probably put up the better fight of the two. But yeah. I mean, maybe white has a good enough removal, but your creatures aren't three toughness creatures for very long, so its removal would not would not be effective for very long.
I'm going to at least goldfish it a little bit, because now that we've got those hex catchers in there, I have more lords.
Oh, hey. You were asking something about, lightsabers in D&D.
Was I?
Didn't you tell me that we needed to make rules for lightsabers, or make
Oh yeah, no, that's right, for the backward. I mean, there's got to be a D20 Star Wars system, right?
There is. I actually have it. Because of course. Okay, Rebellion or a source book.
I don't like that the sleeves are thin enough to actually show card.
Oh.
But it's alright, we can work with it. Island Ether Vial Co.
Alright.
Waterlogged Grove.
Page 28.
Violin the Curse Catcher. Pay 1 life to play the Hex Catcher. I can actually do that on his turn. I can do both of them. Nice. Tap roll 2. Definitely protect the Sanctum.
There it is.
Up to 3.
Equipment, weapons. Okay. Okay, lightsaber. Lightsabers. Lightsabers ignore damage reduction of an object, which makes sense considering what they've been shown to be able to do.
Yeah.
Lightsabers deal 2d8 damage.
Yeah, that's a hurting.
19 to 20 critical. Deals energy type of damage. Which makes sense.
Yeah, we don't really have an analog for energy as a type of damage.
No, I would honestly probably
Force?
rule it out heat-based damage. Just because it seems to melt things.
Are the wounds self-cauterizing raw?
I think that would probably be under wounds.
So I just think a lightsaber causing bleed damage would be kind of anachronistic.
I don't think it could. Yeah, I don't think it could cause bleed damage.
Beautiful.
There are, however, some feats involved with lightsabers, obviously.
Coven of Souls on Merfolk.
Force deflection is a feat you actually have to take. You know the trick of how they bounce blaster bolts away from themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a feat you have to take.
Not particularly surprising.
Classist. Okay, interesting. Interesting.
What's that?
I was just going through the Jedi list, the lists of the different Jedi classes. I expected this system to be kind of like Knights of the Old Republic, the video game, but like in a paper format.
And it's not?
No, not really. I mean, it's got some similarities.
Excuse me.
So,
There we go.
you got something going on tomorrow, right?
No. Kevin is not able to do what he was planning to do for running. So if you want to, it's all yours. I am going to be out of town. It's Rebecca's mom's birthday.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You weren't going to be around.
In which case, yes, that is correct, sir.
Okay. No, I don't really have anything to run right now. Mostly because I have to make everybody characters. I say, looking at the file full of characters on my computer.
I mean, when you're right, you're right.
But, most of those characters are not fit for playing a one-shot campaign. Because their power level are wildly away from each other. That feels better. There's some stuff I got from my previous the DM that got me actually really into D&D that I'm not entirely certain why I still have.
Like what?
Tome of variant rules. Has like varying different classes for different players, and like different rules. It has interesting readings in how each of the races are, like why they're the way they are and whatnot, and why like certain characters haven't certain races haven't conquered the world, even though they have every opportunity to. It has a couple interesting reads, but my main problem with it is that it's got a lot of... I did not mean to do that.
Maybe I like a story with a lot of I didn't mean to do that.
I accidentally highlighted something and I changed the color of all the text. I didn't mean to do that. But like all the prestige classes are just memes. Like there's one here. That's just a dick. That's just a monk dick joke. There's another prestige class here that is a reference to Naruto. And like I get it, but no.
Yeah.
I do agree with one thing this book has and mentions, and that is class skills are fucking stupid. Here are your points, assign them wherever, as long as you have the points to assign them.
Yeah, that's one thing that is definitely noticeably missing from PF2E, and I can't say I miss it.
It still has sort of class skills, but it does this trained and not trained thing, which is, I think, a better way to do the system if you're going to limit things that way.
But I mean, you're still getting to pick all of your skills.
Most of them, yeah, and I'm fine with that. Yeah, Tome, version 7. Version 0.7. I mean, it's 391 pages, so I'm not going to get rid of it, but it's not something I go into very often. And then E6. I really like E6.
Yeah.
Just the idea behind it. Even though the argument was flawed, I do enjoy the agreement, the idea of the E6 campaign. I think I've talked to you about E6 before, haven't I?
Yeah, it's basically you can only get up to 6th level based on the premise that Gandalf was a 6th level wizard.
Yeah. It was a flawed argument, but I mean, it is an interesting idea if you wanted a lower power level for your games. Because that makes a lot of monsters that, wouldn't be as much of a threat a huge goddamn problem. A problem that it makes sense why villagers are shitting their pants. And calling upon the greatest adventurers of the land. It was a dark and stormy night. Well, no, it actually wasn't. It was certainly dark and very much stormy, but it was technically mid-afternoon. Not a particularly great read, but that was probably the best the best line in the first chapter of that fanfic.
I mean, it is a pretty strong start.
Because, it works so well. Especially since that was a comedy. Anyways. Alright. There are so many of these pre-made games I've never even opened. Probably don't want to touch anything on there. Oh, yeah, Forge of... I've seen that one in person. Oh my, is this what I think it is? Okay, this is not what I thought it was.
Alrighty, 3 Curse of the Pierced Heart out, 3 Taylor Brittany in. Now we really gonna be ready to roll some faith.
Deep Horizon. The hell is? Okay, that people. Got it. So, looking through, excluding the world's largest dungeon, the highest level book I have for a pre-made game is Bastion of Broken Souls. Minimum level 18. Up to epic. Yeah. Start at 18. They should advance through 19 and reach 20th. Maybe more. Probably depending on how well they clear everything.
I really like this combo. Alright, so it's turn 3, I'm on red, right?
Okay.
I missed my 3rd land drop. I've got Thermo Alchemist in play. Tap red, play Monastery Swiftspear. Declare attack with Monastery Swiftspear. Tap Thermo Alchemist to ping for 1. Tap for red to play Needle Drop, activating Prowess, untapping Thermo Alchemist, draw a card, and then Swiftspear gets in for 2. That's 4 damage on only 2 mana. And I drew a card. Oh, actually 5 damage, because I still get to fucking ping again with Thermo. Yeah, she's definitely a solid addition to the deck.
Yeah. Yeah, the only reason she wasn't in there before is because you didn't know she was a common at one point. Otherwise, you would have had her in there earlier. A lot earlier.
Yeah.
Makes sense why Mono Red is basically dominating Pepper right now.
Yes, much, much, much better now.
Dragon Magazine.
Speaking of Dragon, how much or how little do we want to actually work NDGs and backstory into this campaign?
Probably very little. My character might mention them on occasion, but I don't think they should really be a big part of things. Like, they've got their own things they're dealing with at home.
Yeah, I just don't, like, I don't want to have you feeling left out either, like, not having your backstory recognized or brought into the campaign. Like.
No, that's fine. Like, he's basically, the way I view it is he's basically here, on a, like, here's a low-risk assignment, see how you do. If it becomes a high-risk assignment, we'll give you more assistance as you need it. This is basically a working job interview for him. Though he won't ever admit that to anybody else.
Okay. What's the job? What are you hoping to get out of it?
I actually haven't decided that at this point. That's just what I'm thinking he's seeing this as. But this is kind of a starting job interview. And so, like, he is, he's offering to help, with the search and whatnot. Not necessarily because he wants to find out what happens, but because it'll leave a good impression on the ruler, having at least attempted to help.
Gotcha.
Which will lead to better diplomacy later, maybe, if it becomes important. Huh, interesting. I'm going through my D&D thing, and I'm looking at my Dragon Magazine file. I don't have much in Dragon Magazine. Three, four, five, six, seven, eight. I have 9 Dragon Magazine editions.
Sweet.
Or excerpts from them. Maybe not the whole magazine. New cantrips, new exotic weapons, a prestige class. Something about, like, Kung Fu and ninjas for D&D? A compilation of prestige classes? Sorry, from Dragon Magazine?
I don't think I have actually, like, any dragon content.
Wouldn't surprise me. They stopped producing the magazines.
Yeah, because Paizo had taken it over, and when they launched Pathfinder, they stopped producing Dungeon and Dragon, right?
That I don't know.
I believe how that's how that worked out.
Here's one I got specifically for the dinosaurs. I wanted dinosaur stat blocks for some dinosaurs that didn't exist in the main one.
Okay.
The new magic items, Aberon races, something about martial arts. The new cantrips are funny. Conjuration trap that does 1 point of electrical damage. To the next person who touches the surface the rune was put on. I think my favorite, however, is the new illusion cantrip in this book.
Oh yeah?
Or one of the new illusion cantrips. Yep, it's called Coin of the Realm. It has like a funny story connected to it. When Twarl the Charming stumbled upon this cantrip in the library of the academy where he was staying, he thought it was the answer to his prayers. Soon, Twarl was living the high life. At first, the apprentice was careful not to draw attention to himself and only spent the coin in busy taverns, where it would go unnoticed. Later, he became sloppy and ran up debts he couldn't pay off with a single coin. The debt collectors went to the young apprentice's masters, and the whole truth came out. Pearl spent the next 6 months finding out what the life of a stable boy was like. This spell cloaks a pebble in an illusion, making it seem to be a gold coin of whatever design the caster chooses.
Yeah, that's definitely world-breaking.
Somewhat world-breaking? Because there is a saving throw to recognize that it's a rock. But I do have to say, sorry, it's a good view on what an illusionist could do to screw up to everybody.
Yeah. I am excited for illusions to start coming more out in our campaign. It is unfortunate that we do not have the illusionist. I wanted more illusions on y'all's side as well. But. So, what do you think of the mystery as someone who was so deeply involved in the creation of so much of what's behind the mystery, and yet I don't actually think that you do really know what's going on right now?
I don't actually remember most of the things. I do know that the princess was basically taken away through a portal. I don't remember who's in on it though.
Hey, what's good, Hank? Welcome. How you doing today? just running through my liquidity pose real quick, yeah. I guess it's really too early to ask if you're enjoying it because, well, it's been one session. There really hasn't been anything figured out yet, so
Yeah.
I will hold off on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited. How did you feel the session went?
Okay. I mean, pretty much went exactly as I thought it would when my character entered combat. You really don't want to split up for any reason, but it didn't make sense for us not to
Yeah.
in the situation. And I knew I was probably going to get shot or something. I didn't expect to get attacked by 3 of them. 4 of them? 4 of them.
Yeah, you were the first one that actually came into range where you could be. So I guess what you missed after that, because after you killed those 4, that's when you took off, right?
That's when I backed my character up and I was like, yeah, that's when I left.
Alright, so you knocked those 4, or killed all 4 of them with your blast. There was a little bit more putzing about. Still in initiative order. Well, Lurith landed and stepped out of the wild shape, and then happened to notice with a 60-fucking-7 perception check. Thanks to exploding dice, rolled a nat 20 and then a nat 20. And because of that, was able to notice the other 3 kobolds that had snuck around the other side of the house and were just trying to fucking flee for their lives. So, when those guys attacked you and one of them had been left at 1 hit point, I was trying to kind of keep him there so that y'all could take one alive for questioning. And then you just executed that bastard. Not that I'm saying that you did anything wrong. Like you said, you didn't know who's alive, who's dead, what did, where did, fucking just blast them. You did, no problem. Fairheart killed the 1 kobold that was not an identical copy of the others, because all 4 of the ones around you, they're all identical, pretty much. And then there's one other one. And he killed that one as it was obviously fleeing and unarmed. I stepped up and shot a fucking bolt of lightning right through him. And then Brother Bonk came in with a flying kick to the jaw and knocked out one of the other kobolds. And then the other one kept trying to flee, but obviously Brother Bonk is just way faster than a fucking kobold, so it never had a chance. And so Brother Bonk, drags the other kobold back in right as Fairheart gets finished tying the first one up to the tree, ties the second one up to the tree, starts smacking them and trying to interrogate them, and they don't say a word, they just keep looking at him, and then Lurith tries to pry one of them's mouth open to figure out if it even has vocal cords or anything like that, and it tries to breathe fire on her for sticking her fucking face in its mouth, and she kind of slaps it so it ends up breathing fire all over Fairheart instead. Basically, she passed her save and he didn't. And then they decided to head back to the library at the palace and see if Micah could get the kobolds to talk, and then basically that was pretty much it. You and Brother Bonk got assigned a suite in the castle, so you guys have a good place to rest overnight. You got a few hours before turn of day, and the current agreement is to meet back at the library at 4 o'clock on day 2.
Okay, I assume that as far as healing goes, because most of us have at least some form of healing, we'll be at full health when we get there, if we have the spells left.
Yeah, you're basically at full health after your rest.
Okay. Because I took quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, and you were the only one who really did.
I didn't use a single healing spell, so I have plenty of them to heal myself over that afternoon.
Okay, good. Yeah, I knew that it wasn't going to be an issue once we got you actually out of combat. I just didn't. I tried to do as little as possible for you. Like.
That actually reminds me of. That reminds me of a webcomic. It's Order of the Stick webcomic. It's not very good. I didn't think they were very good. What?
Just laughing. You're all like, it's an Order of the Stick webcomic, so that means it's not very good.
Well, I didn't think it was very good, but it had some moments. Basically, it was two clerics standing right next to each other, and like this goblin. I think it's a goblin, like goblin swordmaster. Is like slashing them. It's like taking his turns slashing at them, and they're like, heal minor wounds. The other one's like, heal minor wounds. It's like, heal minor wounds. Heal minor wounds. He does this really big, like, epic flurry sort of thing, and then one of them's like, heal moderate wounds. Goblin throws down his blade and just turns around and walks away like, screw this, I'm not doing this anymore.
Right? I have definitely had those fights where it was like, okay, you are easily outpacing all of the damage I can possibly do, and I can't make your bar go down. Or I am constantly out healing all of the damage that you can possibly do, and you can't make the bar go down.
Situations I ever saw. I think the funniest of those situations I ever saw was when I was playing a sorcerer at the time. Or, no, it was a wizard. And, it was an enlarged, ray of enfeeblement that I got a max roll on the range.
Nice.
I hit a chimera.
Mid-flight?
It went into melee with the fighter character who was a Duskblade, I think. I was like, minus 12 strength. 5 attacks per round, it could not hit a damn thing.
Yep. That kitty got declawed.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. What the hell is this? Huh. Interesting. Dragon Magazine prestige classes. And here's like a class called Flesh Eater, and I that type of name, I had to look at it.
Yeah.
And they're effectively evil. It's effectively a prestige class for evil halfling cannibals.
I mean, yeah, that fits. If your halflings are cannibals, then,
I mean, this screams to me Dark Sun, but the way they've got it all put out, I don't think they made it so they could be put into not Dark Sun. You have to be a halfling, you have to be chaotic evil, you have to be level 5? You have to be level 5, so you can get into it at level 6, but you need 3, maybe 4 feats. That's some pretty steep requirements. Burning 4 feats just to get into it. Huh. Interesting and odd. What else we got? Yeah. I had one person who played Frenzied Berserker in one of our games, and I was his designated minder. And by that I meant, I mean, I had to have 2 casts of Calm Emotions prepared and ready to cast if he ever decided to rage. You ever play with Frenzied Berserker?
no.
It makes Berserker more powerful. It makes the rage a lot better, but it removes the Berserker's ability to prioritize targets.
Yeah, I mean that pretty much follows by the name. It's basically exactly what I expected.
Mhm. Yeah. So they'd attack their own teammates if their teammates were the closest target.
Could still be good because your teammates tend to know about that. You're able to communicate it and work around it, but yeah, it's still pretty dangerous.
You can definitely work your way around it. However, they cannot voluntarily end their rage. They have to wait for it to time out. Which is why I had to have casts of calm emotions to end their rage prematurely if we needed to.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because with those strength buffs they got from their frenzied berserker rage, yeah, they could easily take down one of us if the need arose. How's the temperature down there, by the way?
Reasonable. We've had the first couple cool breeze, like gusts of fall. I have not experienced any yet, but Rebecca's been raving about them because she gets up earlier in the mornings than I do.
Yeah, it's supposed to get down to 38 tonight.
You had snow this time last year, right?
I don't remember. We don't have snow now. I don't think we're going to be getting snow, at least for the next week. The weather doesn't seem like it's conducive to snow.
What are you doing for your birthday?
I was thinking movie.
Well, what are we gonna go see?
We? I mean, it comes out on the 27th, so sure. But I was going to go see the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
They're coming out with a movie? Cool.
It's been in the works for the past 8 years. Which, I'll admit, doesn't bode well for the movie.
Right?
Hey, I'll give it a shot. Yeah, they've got 3 trailers out for it, I think, right now. And it airs in theaters on the 27th.
Well, that's just about perfect fucking timing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it is. I know they wanted it for the Halloween season, but perfect date. Just gotta say, perfect date.
Alright, here we go. Let's watch this trailer.
Oh, you're watching it?
Job too. Piece of cake, really. It's a security gig.
Hello? Welcome to Freddy's. Have you met them yet?
Wait, who?
Foxy, Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy. Back in the 80s. Some kids went missing.
What is this?
That's why the place shut down. The police searched Freddy's. Hey! They never found the kids. What the heck?
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not getting into any of the weird stuff that the newer series, the newer games have gotten into. So,
Like what?
give me a sec. Well, the newest games are like this take place in like a sort of mall mall pizza plex entertainment place, and everything's done up in like an 80s glam rock style, and it's very weird.
Yeah, that sounds kind of weird.
But the actor who's most of the actors have 3 movie contracts for the Five Nights at Freddy's series, so there's at least another 2 movies that are planned.
That's good to know. I know someone who's going to be very happy about it, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well. Alright, well, I'm gonna head to bed.
Alrighty. Have a good night. I will, I guess, not catch you tomorrow since we're off, but I'll be in touch.
Yep, I will hear from you. I'll hear from you at some point.
Later, Gator. Oh, wait, no, that's me. I'm here in Florida. And for those of y'all watching, I'm going to go ahead and call it there as well. I'm a little hooked too. But thank you so much for hanging out. I will be back here Sunday night. Wow. All the way from now until Sunday. So I might work something in between. But in the meanwhile, keep kicking ass, because you are fucking awesome.